What if I told you that there is a long list of hidden scandals, rumours, and controversies that the entertainment industry has often tried to deny or bury? Well, without you asking, I will do just that. From infamous affairs to mysterious disappearances, come along as we uncover the 50 terrible scandals that Hollywood always denied. One Fatty's Trial. Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle was a prominent figure in early Hollywood, celebrated as one of the highest-paid movie stars of his time. However, his life took a dramatic turn in 1921 when he became embroiled in a scandal that overshadowed his career. After signing a groundbreaking studio deal, Arbuckle booked a suite at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco for a weekend of celebration. During the festivities, a young actress named Virginia Rapp was seen fleeing from one of the bedrooms, appearing distressed and ill. Unfortunately, the guests at the party dismissed her condition, assuming she was merely intoxicated and did not seek medical help. Tragically, Rapp died a few days later, leading to Arbuckle being charged with her mistreatment and equally causing her death. The prosecution alleged that he had mistreated her, possibly using a champagne bottle, which resulted in a ruptured bladder and ultimately caused her death from peritonitis. Arbuckle faced 3 trials. The first 2 ended in hung juries, but in the third trial he was acquitted due to a complete lack of evidence. 2. Charlie Chaplin's divorce. Charlie Chaplin is celebrated as one of the most influential figures in Hollywood, but his reputation faced a significant blow following his tumultuous split from his second wife, Lita Grey. The couple had married when both were just 16, a rushed decision prompted by Grey's claim of pregnancy, which later turned out to be false. Despite this, they welcomed 2 sons into the world, but their marriage quickly soured. When Chaplin and Grey went to court to finalize their divorce, the proceedings became a public spectacle that painted Chaplin in a negative light. The media portrayed him as a neglectful husband, an absent father, and a womanizer with a troubling attraction to young girls. This scandalous portrayal shattered his carefully crafted image as a beloved star. Ultimately, Grey was awarded an unprecedented $800,000 settlement, marking one of the largest divorce settlements in American history at that time. 3. Judy Garland's mistreatment. Judy Garland's journey in Hollywood began when she was discovered by an MGM scout in 1935 as a young teen. While the studio admired her voice and acting talent, they were less impressed with her looks. Nevertheless, she was signed and quickly cast in girl next door roles, working grueling hours, often up to 18 a day, 6 days a week. To maintain her energy and slim figure, the studio provided her with amphetamines, and when it was time to rest, they supplied sleeping pills. At just 19, Garland married against the studio's wishes and was back to work just 24 hours later. When she became pregnant, the studio arranged for her to have an abortion. By the time she starred in Meet Me in St. Louis in her early 20s, she was heavily reliant on amphetamines. The studio isolated her, ensuring no one could influence her, and if she called in sick, they deducted the lost production costs from her paycheck. Garland even checked into a hospital to learn how to eat and sleep properly. But upon her release, the studio pressured her to lose weight, leading her back to the pills. As her life spiraled out of control, the studios eventually abandoned her. 4. Lana Turner's daughter caused the death of her boyfriend. In a shocking turn of events, actress Lana Turner's life took a dark twist when her 14-year-old daughter, Cheryl Crane, stabbed Turner's boyfriend, Johnny Stompanato, a notorious mobster. On that fateful night, Stompanato was reportedly threatening Lana's life, creating a tense and dangerous situation. In a desperate act to protect her mother, Cheryl grabbed a kitchen knife and fatally wounded him. The incident shocked Hollywood, but Cheryl claimed she acted in self-defense, believing her mother was in imminent danger. The case drew significant media attention, and during the trial, the jury ultimately ruled the act as a justifiable homicide. Cheryl was exonerated, but the tragic event left a lasting impact on both her and her mother. 5. Ingrid Bergman's affairs. In the early 1950s, Ingrid Bergman found herself at the center of a scandal that rocked Hollywood. She was married to neurosurgeon Petter Lindstrom when she began an affair with Italian director Roberto Rossellini. Their relationship was so controversial that a United States senator publicly warned them not to set foot on American soil under our immigration laws, highlighting the immense backlash they faced. As the affair progressed, Bergman discovered she was pregnant, prompting her to rush through a divorce from Lindstrom. Just a week later, she married Rossellini in Mexico, trying to escape the scandal that surrounded them. However, the fallout was severe. Bergman was ostracized from Hollywood, and it took years before she appeared in another American-backed film. The public scrutiny and moral outrage over her affair not only damaged her reputation, but also set back her illustrious career, though she eventually made a successful comeback. 6 Hedy Lamarr's shoplifting charges. Hedy Lamarr, renowned for her beauty and often dubbed the most beautiful girl in the world, found herself in an unexpected and scandalous situation. While shopping at the May Cumbres Wilshire department store, an Art Deco landmark in Los Angeles, she was arrested for allegedly stealing $86 worth of items, which included greeting cards and bikini underwear. The incident quickly became a sensational story in the tabloids, captivating the public's attention. Despite the serious nature of the charges, Lamarr maintained her innocence throughout the ordeal. The trial that followed was a spectacle, with her glamorous image placed against the mundane details of the theft. Ultimately, Hedy Lamarr was acquitted of all charges, a verdict that restored her reputation and allowed her to move past the incident. While the scandal briefly cast a shadow over her illustrious career, Lamarr remained an iconic figure in Hollywood, celebrated not only for her beauty, but also for her contributions to film and technology. 7 Gloria Graham marries her stepson. Gloria Graham was a talented actress who won an Academy Award for her role in the 1952 film The Bad and the Beautiful, and starred in classics like It's a Wonderful Life and In a Lonely Place. However, her personal life was tumultuous and ultimately hurt her career. After divorcing her first husband, Stanley Clements, Graham quickly married her second husband, Nicholas Ray. Their relationship began as an affair on the set, and in a bid to avoid the stigma of an out-of-wedlock pregnancy, she became pregnant. Unfortunately, the drama escalated when Ray allegedly discovered Graham in an affair with his 13-year-old son. This scandalous revelation severely damaged her already fragile reputation. It didn't stop there. She married for a third time and later divorced Cy Howard, only to marry her former stepson, who was the same boy she had reportedly cheated on Ray with a decade earlier. This marriage remained a secret for 2 years until it was revealed to the public. The scandal became even more complicated as it coincided with Ray's legal battle for custody of their daughter. 8. The mysterious death of George Reeves. George Reeves was the embodiment of the superhero ideal, bringing Superman to life on screen. But when he was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, the world was shocked. Superheroes were not supposed to die, especially not the beloved Clark Kent. As the news spread, whispers began to circulate about the circumstances surrounding his tragic end. It was rumoured that Reeves had been involved in a scandalous affair with Toni Mannix, the wife of Eddie Mannix, a powerful and notorious fixer in Hollywood. This affair fueled speculation and intrigue, making the public wonder if there was more to the story than a simple, self-inflicted gunshot. The plot thickened when it was suggested that Toni Mannix, on her deathbed, confessed that her husband had orchestrated Reeves's death as revenge for the affairs. 9. Elizabeth Taylor's love triangle. Elizabeth Taylor was truly the queen of scandal in Hollywood. With 8 marriages under her belt, her love life was the stuff of tabloids. The drama escalated when she started an affair with Eddie Fisher, the husband of her close friend Debbie Reynolds, shortly after her third husband tragically died in a plane crash in the late 1950s. This betrayal shocked the public, especially since Fisher and Reynolds had 2 children together. Fisher and Taylor's whirlwind romance led to a marriage that lasted 5 years, but it wasn't long before Taylor found herself entangled in another scandalous affair, this time with the charismatic Richard Burton. Their passionate relationship would lead to 2 marriages and divorces, making Taylor's love life even more sensational. While both Taylor and Fisher faced harsh criticism from the press, Fisher's career suffered significantly due to the fallout from the affair. 10. Olivia de Havilland versus Warner Brothers. Olivia de Havilland had a remarkable journey in Hollywood that highlighted her tenacity and commitment to her craft. At just 20 years old, she signed a 7-year contract with Warner Brothers. 2 years later, she was loaned to MGM to star in the iconic film Gone with the Wind. However, during her contract with Warner Brothers, de Havilland refused to appear in 7 films that the studio cast her in, leading to her being suspended multiple times. Soon, de Havilland argued that her contract had expired, while Warner Brothers claimed she owed them an additional 6 months due to her suspensions. This disagreement escalated into a legal battle. De Havilland asserted that the roles offered to her were not suited to her abilities and that she could not portray them with integrity. The legal battle was spearheaded by Martin Gang, a prominent litigator known for representing stars like Bob Hope, Frank Sinatra, and Lucille Ball. De Havilland ultimately won her case, which significantly weakened the control that studios had over their actors, limiting contracts to their specified terms. 11. The Marilyn Monroe and John Kennedy affair. The White House was a hotbed of intrigue, especially with the charismatic President John Kennedy at the helm. It was during this time that Hollywood's dazzling starlet, Marilyn Monroe, made her way to Washington when she was invited to a dinner in Kennedy's honor. Their flirtatious chemistry was palpable, and this time Kennedy asked for her phone number. The following day, he called her to invite her to his Palm Springs home while First Lady Jackie was away. Despite the Secret Service's efforts to keep their meetings under wraps, rumors quickly surfaced after that weekend. Observers noted the obvious intimacy between them, and Kennedy's reputation as a ladies' man only fueled the gossip. However, the romance had a tragic undertone. Monroe, whose troubled childhood left her emotionally fragile, developed deep feelings for Kennedy, which he did not reciprocate. As his interest waned, Monroe faced a series of personal disappointments, leading her to struggle with alcohol and substance abuse. 12. The death of actress Natalie Woods. At just 17, Natalie Wood captured the spotlight with her Academy Award nomination for her role alongside James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause. Having started her career at 9 in Miracle on 34th Street, she continued to shine in classics like West Side Story and Splendor in the Grass, earning an Oscar for her talent. However, after having 2 children with actor Robert Wagner, she chose to slow down her career. On Thanksgiving weekend in 1981, Wood and Wagner invited fellow actor Christopher Walken, her co-star from Brainstorm, for a yachting trip to Catalina Island. Tragically, in the early hours of the morning, Wood's body was discovered face down in the water, ruled an apparent drowning. While the coroner confirmed she drowned, whispers of a fight between Wood and Wagner over her alleged flirtations with Walken sparked rumours of foul play. 13. Clara Bow's legal troubles. The name Clara Bow may not resonate with many today, but during the roaring 1920s, she was a towering figure in the silent film industry. Her role in the hit movie It not only solidified her status as a star, but also birthed the term It Girl, capturing the essence of charm and allure that defined a generation. While Bow's film career skyrocketed, her life off-screen became a whirlwind of public scandals and legal troubles. The drama began when her former assistant stole valuable possessions from her, leading to a sensational trial. During the proceedings, the defense attorney took the opportunity to tarnish Bow's reputation, exposing her wild lifestyle and illegal alcohol purchases, a risky move during the Prohibition era. 14. Thelma Todd's death. At the peak of her career, Thelma Todd was a comedic powerhouse, standing shoulder to shoulder with legends like the Marx Brothers and Laurel and Hardy. Known for her sharp wit and charm, she often collaborated with these iconic duos, delighting audiences with her performances. However, behind the scenes, Todd struggled with a serious drinking problem that cast a shadow over her success. Tragically, her life came to a sudden end when she was found dead in her car. Initially, authorities suspected it might have been an accidental death. However, whispers of foul play soon emerged, with some believing that her boyfriend, Roland West, could have been involved in staging the scene. Despite the intrigue and speculation surrounding her death, no charges were ever filed against anyone, leaving many questions unanswered. 15. William Randolph Hearst shot someone else instead of Charlie Chaplin. William Randolph Hearst was a powerful businessman, politician, and newspaper publisher, known for creating the largest newspaper empire in the world. He was a significant figure in America and inspired Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. Hearst was notorious for his ruthless and hot-tempered personality. His personal life became complicated when rumours surfaced about his mistress, actress Marion Davies, having an affair with Charlie Chaplin. Instead of confronting Chaplin directly, Hearst invited him and other film industry figures onto his yacht, leading to an uncomfortable atmosphere. The situation took a tragic turn with the mysterious death of Hollywood producer Thomas Ince, who was on the yacht seeking investment from Hearst. While the official story claimed Ince died from digestive problems, rumours suggested that Hearst accidentally shot him while aiming at Chaplin. 16. Greta Garbo and Marlene Dietrich's affair. Greta Garbo and Marlene Dietrich were two of the most famous leading ladies in Hollywood history. Garbo dazzled audiences with her performances in both silent and sound films, starring in classics like Anna Karenina and A Woman of Affairs. Dietrich, known for her captivating presence, gained fame through iconic films such as Shanghai Express, The Devil is a Woman, and Touch of Evil. For years, whispers of a secret affair between the two actresses circulated in Hollywood. Despite their strong denials, some inconsistencies in their stories raised eyebrows. Notably, they claimed to have never met, yet they had both appeared in a German silent film together years earlier. 17. Roman Polanski scandal. The film director Roman Polanski's second wife, actress Sharon Tate, was tragically unalived by the Manson family, but Polanski then got wrapped up in a very sketchy saga involving the statutory mistreatment of a 13-year-old female whom he plied with a substance. Although he admitted to being intimate with the girl, Polanski insisted she was a willing participant. No one with a brain was buying that story, and Polanski was about to be sentenced when he fled to Europe. 18. Errol Flynn was a pervert. Errol Flynn was a charismatic Hollywood star known for his adventurous roles and a notorious reputation for his escapades. The phrase "in like Flynn" gained popularity after he was acquitted of charges related to the statutory mistreatment of two girls, which only heightened his image as a womanizer. Before becoming famous, he worked as a river guide, where he faced dangerous situations. Rumours about his early intimate experiences and his hedonistic lifestyle, including installing two-way mirrors for voyeurism, followed him throughout his life. Flynn died at 50 from a heart attack, and it's said that coroners removed genital warts from his body as souvenirs, adding a bizarre chapter to his controversial legacy. 19. Loretta Young adopted her own child. Loretta Young was a stunning and successful actress, celebrated for her beauty and talent, including winning an Oscar for her role in The Farmer's Daughter. However, she had a significant secret. After filming The Call of the Wild, Young vanished from the public eye for 18 months and returned with a daughter named Judy, whom she claimed to have adopted. In reality, Judy was her biological child, the result of a brief affair with the married actor Clark Gable. The circumstances of their relationship remain unclear, and Young, a devout Catholic, would not have considered abortion. For 31 years, the truth about Judy's parentage was kept hidden, despite persistent rumours in Hollywood. It wasn't until after Young's death that the secret was officially revealed in a memoir, confirming what many had speculated for years. 20. Patricia Douglas's case. Patricia Douglas was a young actress who attended what she thought was an audition for MGM, but turned out to be a party for studio executives. At the event, she was mistreated by MGM salesman David Ross. Instead of accepting a payoff, Douglas chose to press charges, leading to a campaign by MGM to discredit her. They hired detectives to investigate her and pressured witnesses to provide false statements against her. Despite her bravery, Douglas faced significant backlash, and her attacker was not held accountable, revealing the dark realities of Hollywood at the time. 21. Alfred Hitchcock was a stalker. Alfred Hitchcock, a renowned director, had a complex and troubling relationship with his leading ladies. Despite being married for 54 years and claiming to have been intimate only once, he became obsessed with actresses like Grace Kelly, Janet Leigh, and especially Tippi Hedren. After casting Hedren in The Birds, he imposed strict rules on her, forbidding interaction with other cast members and making advances that she rejected. In retaliation for her rejections, Hitchcock subjected her to distressing scenes with live birds, resulting in real attacks during filming. Their relationship soured when Hedren confronted him, leading Hitchcock to allegedly try to ruin her career by preventing her from working with other directors and undermining her accolades, including her Oscar nomination. 22. George Raft really was a gangster. George Raft was well known for his roles as tough characters, including convicts, crooks, and mobsters. His real-life connections with mobsters likely influenced how casting directors viewed him. His career began with a role as a coin-tossing henchman in Scarface, which set the tone for the types of roles he would play throughout his life. Raft was open about his involvement in illegal activities, including running bootlegging operations for the mob. Siegel, who had ties to organized crime and connections in Hollywood, played a significant role in helping Raft enter the film industry. The influence of the mafia was always present in Raft's work. Notable figures like Al Capone even contributed to the making of Scarface by showing the director how to handle a Tommy gun. 23. Tallulah Bankhead had multiple abortions. Tallulah Bankhead was as famous inside Hollywood for her entanglements as she was for her beauty around the rest of the world. At one point, she was said to have had 185 notches on her bedpost, and she hadn't finished counting. Knowing that the studios would not have tolerated a pregnant star, Bankhead had 4 abortions by age 30. She wasn't the only one. The studios had established protocols for this contingency and booked women into hospitals under false names for vague procedures. They were attended only by their doctors, and visitors were strictly prohibited. Bankhead was one of the few regular visitors to the hospital. She was briefly married to a man whose proposal she accepted, because he's the only one who ever asked her. It didn't last. Her promiscuity was legendary. She had affairs with men and women, often in semi-public places, and made a practice of opening her door to visitors naked. She is even said to have flashed the audience while performing in a Broadway play, causing a priest and 3 nuns to walk out. Bankhead is said to have regretted her abortions later in life, when she found herself unable to have children due to a hysterectomy performed after she contracted gonorrhea. 24. Jean Harlow was forced to marry. Jean Harlow was the original blonde bombshell. She catapulted to stardom after appearing in Howard Hughes's Hell's Angels. She married her first husband at age 15 and was divorced a few years later. Her second husband was killed in a gunshot accident, though there was much speculation that she had killed him. And then she had an affair with a married boxer. When the scandal threatened to become public, the studio forced her to marry cinematographer Harold Roson. However, the marriage was for public consumption only, and they quietly divorced a few months later when the scandal was forgotten. Harlow did want to marry William Powell. She fell for him on the set of Reckless and wanted to get married, have a family, and give up acting. But Powell was not reckless. He had just been divorced from Carole Lombard and thought the public might not like him to marry so soon. He also made it clear that he never wanted children. Powell's caution, however, only went so far, and Harlow soon found herself pregnant. Knowing that he did not want children and that the studio would not tolerate an unmarried mother, Harlow aborted the baby that she wanted and never told Powell what had happened. 25. Joan Crawford did adult movie. Joan Crawford was a major star at MGM, known for her ambition and winning an Oscar for Mildred Pierce in 1945. However, rumours about her early career, particularly her alleged involvement in an adult film called Velvet Lips, cast a shadow over her reputation. Her brother reportedly tried to sell copies of the film, and Crawford faced blackmail during her honeymoon. Although she denied participating in such films, her FBI file suggests otherwise, indicating that a film of her in compromising positions was circulated at men-only parties. Biographers claim the studio paid her brother to keep the film quiet, supported by suspicious payments from Crawford. 26 Spade Cooley caused the death of his second wife. At the height of his popularity, Spade Cooley was one of the biggest names in country music, who appeared in movies and TV shows while selling records by the bucketload. What most people didn't know was that he struggled with the associated fame, leading to an increasing sense of paranoia and a short temper, which led him to snap under the belief his second wife, Ella May, was having an affair. Cooley mistreated her so viciously and for such a prolonged period that she tragically died as a result of her injuries, with the courtroom trial drawing crowds from all over the country before he was convicted for causing the death of his and sentenced to life in prison. Then California Governor Ronald Reagan was planning to issue a pardon 8 years later, but Cooley died before it could be granted. 27 J. Edgar Hoover's secret FBI files. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI, secretly monitored Hollywood's biggest stars, creating detailed files on anyone he deemed subversive or anti-American. This included icons like Charlie Chaplin, Marilyn Monroe, Walt Disney, and Marlene Dietrich. During the communist witch hunt, the scrutiny of celebrities intensified, and Hoover kept this sensitive information as potential blackmail, ready to expose their secrets if necessary. This revelation shattered the illusion that celebrity lives were free from government oversight, highlighting the tension between fame and privacy. 28. The Black Dahlia Death. The case of Elizabeth Short, known as the Black Dahlia, remains one of the most famous unsolved death cases in pop culture history. Her mutilated and dismembered body was discovered in Los Angeles, shocking the nation and igniting a tabloid frenzy. The press and public were obsessed with the details, leading to numerous accusations against various suspects, including filmmaker Orson Welles. Despite extensive investigation and decades passing, the true identity of her killer has never been uncovered. The sensational nature of the crime and its coverage has turned it into a scandalous chapter in Los Angeles history, with amateurs still seeking answers to this day. 29. Christina Crawford. Publishes Mommy Dearest. Christina was adopted by Joan, but their initially loving relationship deteriorated as Christina grew up. Tensions escalated, particularly when Christina pursued acting and was replaced by Joan in a soap opera after surgery. Their relationship became estranged, culminating in Joan's death in 1977 and Christina's publication of Mommy Dearest a year later. The book accused Joan of being a self-centered and abusive mother, capturing media attention and leading to a campy film adaptation starring Faye Dunaway. While Mommy Dearest gained immense popularity, it faced pushback from those who knew Joan, including actors Van Johnson and Myrna Loy, as well as Christina's sisters. 30. The mysterious death of Jean Harlow's husband. Before her untimely death at just 26, actress Jean Harlow's life was filled with scandal and intrigue. She married for the first time at 16, but that union lasted only 2 years. At 22, during her peak fame, she wed Paul Bern, a middle-aged German film executive. Tragically, just 2 months into their marriage, Bern was found dead from what was believed to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The circumstances surrounding his death were shrouded in mystery, as MGM studio executives arrived before the police to manage the scene. At the time of Bern's death, Harlow was reportedly at her mother's house, adding to the speculation. The plot thickened when it was revealed that Bern was already married to another woman, Dorothy Millette, whose body was discovered in the Sacramento River shortly after. Millette had been living in a sanitarium and had a complicated relationship with Bern, raising questions about her possible visit the night he died. 31. Jerry Lee Lewis married his cousin. In 1958, rock and roll Jerry Lee Lewis made headlines when he married his cousin, who was just 13 years old. This marriage marked his third, and the fact that he was still legally married to his second wife at the time only added to the controversy. The public reaction was swift and unforgiving. Many were horrified by the age difference and the circumstances surrounding the marriage. As a result, Lewis's career took a significant hit. Once a rising star in the rock and roll scene, he faced backlash from fans and the media alike. His reputation suffered, and he found it increasingly difficult to book shows or maintain his popularity. This scandal not only tarnished his image, but also highlighted the changing societal norms regarding relationships and marriage, especially concerning age and consent. 32. Shirley MacLaine warmed up the Cold War. A significant cultural clash occurred when USSR Premier Nikita Khrushchev and his family visited Hollywood. During their visit, they were treated to the filming of a dance scene for the upcoming musical Can Can, starring Shirley MacLaine. However, the performance did not sit well with Khrushchev. Niven describes how the Soviet leader and his entourage looked on with undisguised horror as MacLaine and her dancers performed a lively routine that included kicking their legs, swirling their petticoats, and ending with their skirts over their heads, exposing their bottoms to the guests. The contrast between the performers' exuberant display and Khrushchev's conservative values was large. When asked for his opinion on the performance, Khrushchev succinctly summed it up with a single word. 33. Tyrone Power was the original Bad Santa. Tyrone Power, the matinee idol, was known for his charm and striking good looks, but even he had his vulnerabilities. At one fateful Christmas party, he was tasked with the daunting role of Santa Claus for a group of Hollywood kids, including a young Candice Bergen. The pressure of performing for children left him feeling anxious, and to cope, he turned to a bottle of scotch, arriving at the party in a rather inebriated state. As Power swayed his way to Niven's house, a mishap occurred when Niven accidentally activated the lawn sprinkler, soaking the already unsteady star. Despite the chaos, Power's performer instincts kicked in, and he managed to entertain the children, allowing them to sit on his knee. However, the scene was far from perfect. As he staggered away from the festivities, some children were left in tears, and one even complained about the smell of alcohol on his breath. 34. Sonny and Cher divorce. Cher and Bono's relationship was quite tumultuous, marked by both love and conflict. When Cher filed for divorce, she cited involuntary servitude, highlighting the struggles she faced in their partnership, particularly regarding financial control over their earnings as a musical duo. The divorce proceedings became a battleground, especially over the custody of their son, Chaz. Although they had been informally married, their legal marriage was relatively short-lived. After their divorce was finalized, Cher quickly found her footing and launched a highly successful solo career, establishing herself as a pop icon. Meanwhile, Bono shifted his focus to politics, eventually becoming a congressman for California's 44th District. His political career was cut short when he tragically died in a skiing accident. 35. Paula Negri lost her mind at a funeral. Rudolph Valentino was indeed a significant figure in 1920s Hollywood, known for his roles in silent films and his immense popularity as a matinee idol. His unexpected death at the young age of 31 shocked the entertainment world and drew thousands of mourners to his funeral. Actress Paula Negri's dramatic display at the funeral was particularly noteworthy. She claimed to be Valentino's secret fiancé, which added a layer of intrigue to the event. Her theatricality reached its peak when she fainted not once, but twice during the service. The first fainting spell occurred in front of a flower display that spelled out her name, a display she had arranged herself for the occasion. This act of mourning became a spectacle, further cementing Valentino's status as a cultural icon and highlighting the intense emotions surrounding his untimely passing. 36. Peg Entwistle died on the Hollywood sign. Peg Entwistle was an aspiring actress in the 1930s who never achieved her big break and tragically took her own life by jumping from the H in the Hollywoodland sign in 1932. Her death attracted a lot of sensationalized publicity, and she is still remembered today. In 2014, a group of 100 people gathered to commemorate her death by watching her film 13 Women, with proceeds going to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention in her name. 37. Woody Allen marries Soon-Yi Previn. Woody Allen is known for his self-deprecating neurotic roles in films, but his personal life became controversial when he had an affair with Soon-Yi Previn, the adopted daughter of his then-girlfriend Mia Farrow. The affair was exposed when Farrow found nude photos of Soon Yi in Alan's home, sparking a scandal. Despite the unconventional nature of their relationship, Alan and Previn married and have remained together since, making their partnership notably successful despite the surrounding controversies. 38. Carole Lombard came for Norma Shearer. Screwball comedian Carole Lombard, who was known for being particularly outspoken, was apparently incensed when 1930s MGM queen Norma Shearer showed up at her own all-white party at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel in a bright red dress. The whole ballroom gasped when Lombard dared to come for Shearer, who was married to the all-powerful boy wonder producer Irving Thalberg. According to Niven, in a voice loud enough for all of Hollywood to hear, Lombard proclaimed, "Who the fuck does Norma think she is? The house madam?" His statement caused a stir in the hall, yet somehow it didn't escalate further. 39. Sandra Dee struggled with anorexia. Sandra Dee is most famous for her role in Gidget, but she faced significant pressure from Hollywood to stay thin, which led to an eating disorder and a struggle with pills. At 41, she withdrew from the public eye and became a recluse, worsening her depression, anorexia, and alcoholism. Dee died in 2005 at the age of 62 due to complications from kidney disease. 40. Frances Farmer's forced hospitalization. Frances Farmer earned a name for herself as a successful actress when she rose to fame in the 1930s and 40s. Starring in both Broadway productions and movies, she gained accolades for roles in works like Among the Living, World Premiere, and The Party Crashers. Despite her success, her personal life was chaotic. Farmer's behaviour became increasingly erratic in the 1940s, and she had several arrests for things like drunk and disorderly conduct and assault. Her problems came to a head when she was forcibly committed to a psychiatric hospital in 1943. There, she was diagnosed with schizophrenia and was held until the summer of 1944. 41. Bruce Lee's shocking death. Bruce Lee was found unresponsive by film producer Raymond Chow after failing to attend their dinner plans. A doctor was called but could not revive him, and he was pronounced dead at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Hong Kong at the age of 32. Lee's death was ruled a death by misadventure, caused by cerebral edema from a reaction to the pain relief drug Equagesic, which he had taken for a headache. Medical experts later suggested that heat stroke and overexertion, worsened by Lee's earlier decision to remove his underarm sweat glands, contributed to his fatal condition. His sudden death shocked fans and colleagues, leaving a lasting impact on the martial arts and film communities. 42. Joan Bennett's jealous husband. Joan Bennett was once a high-profile leading lady in some of Hollywood's biggest films, including Little Women, The Woman in the Window, and Scarlet Street. In 1940, she married movie producer Walter Wagner, which ended up being a huge mistake for the actress. In December of 1951, Wagner shot Bennett's agent, Jennings Lang. Suspecting an affair between the two, Wagner shot Lang in a moment of jealousy after seeing him and Bennett talking. Lang survived the gunshot, and Wagner only served a few months for the crime. However, Bennett's reputation was forever tarnished, and her career never fully recovered from the scandal. 43. Leni Riefenstahl's visit to Hollywood. Leni Riefenstahl is the German writer, producer, and director that we have to blame for Triumph of the Will, the Nazi propaganda movie that chronicled the rise of Hitler. In an attempt to increase her notoriety as a filmmaker, she made a trip to the United States. Almost no one in Hollywood gave her a warm reception, and she only managed to snag an audience with a gossip columnist and Walt Disney, who made it clear he had no intention of promoting her latest work, Olympia. She later returned to Germany complaining of the cool reception she had gotten from the industry. 44. Joseph Cotten kicked Hedda Hopper's derriere. Hedda Hopper, a Hollywood gossip columnist, instilled fear among the elite in the film industry. Hopper had a brisk staccato way of demanding replies, and often summoned stars to her Beverly Hills home, which she called the house that fears built. There, nervous actors were given alcohol and ended up revealing secrets, sometimes about their friends, while Hopper discreetly drank tonic water. However, not all stars accepted her tactics without resistance. In the 1940s, Hopper suggested in her column that Joseph Cotton, known as the epitome of the Southern gentleman, had been found in a compromising situation with teenage star Deanna Durbin. Cotton, who was married, threatened Hopper that if she slandered him again, he would kick her up the arse. True to form, Hopper published more gossip shortly after, leading to an encounter where Cotton confronted her at a Hollywood party and let her have it. 45 Jackie Coogan's parents stole his money. Jackie Coogan was a famous child actor known for his role in Charlie Chaplin's film The Kid. As an adult, he discovered that his mother and stepfather had squandered millions of his earnings. He sued them but only received $125,000 from the settlement. This experience led to the creation of the California Child Actors Bill, which protects the earnings of child actors by ensuring that a portion is set aside until they turn 21. 46. Bill Cosby's scandal. Bill Cosby was famously loved by many for his funny shows and movies. However, over the years, many women came forward with stories about how he had mistreated them. These stories started to get attention after another comedian, Hannibal Buress, mentioned them in his act. Despite all the accusations, Cosby said he was innocent and denied everything. Because of the serious claims, many organizations cut ties with him. They took away awards and honors he had received and stopped showing reruns of his popular show, The Cosby Show. Even many colleges took back the honorary degrees they had given him. 47. Charlie Sheen's public meltdown. Charlie Sheen was at the height of his fame from 2.5 Men, but he was struggling with serious personal issues. Instead of seeking help, he went on a bizarre media spree, calling his behavior a violent torpedo of truth. He made outrageous claims about having tiger blood and being a wizard, which shocked fans and led to his firing from the show. Rather than stepping back, he launched a controversial comedy tour, but the public's interest quickly faded. Soon, Sheen had retreated from the chaotic spotlight, marking a wild chapter in Hollywood history. 48. Rob Lowe's videotape. Rob Lowe, a prominent member of the Brat Pack in the 1980s, faced a major scandal during the 1988 Democratic National Convention. After meeting 2 young women at a bar, he brought them to his hotel room and recorded their intimate act. He later discovered that one of the girls was only 16 and that they had stolen money and the videotape. Despite the public outrage and humiliation that followed, Lowe's career didn't end. He managed to bounce back and even humorously addressed the incident on Saturday Night Live 2 years later, demonstrating his resilience. 49. The Hollywood Blacklist. During the beginning of the Cold War, America collectively lost its mind, and Hollywood descended into an all-out fear of communism. Those in the entertainment industry who were either members of or showed support for the Communist Party USA were blacklisted from working in the industry. Sometimes it didn't even take that much to make it on the list. While this fad of driving the Reds out of Hollywood blessedly came to an end, the true irony of this episode is that it fostered an atmosphere of suspicion and betrayal that would have made Stalin himself proud. Although this dark chapter in Hollywood's history eventually faded, its legacy of fear and paranoia left a lasting impact on the industry and its artists. 50. The death of David Carradine. The death of David Carradine reflects the taboo subject of extreme intimate practices within Hollywood. While filming in Bangkok, the 72-year-old actor, known for his roles in Kung Fu and Kill Bill, was tragically found dead in his hotel room, hanging from a rope. Initial speculation suggested that he ended his life, but evidence indicated that Carradine's death might have been a result of autoerotic asphyxiation, a practice involving the restriction of air supply for intimate gratification. His ex-wife confirmed his involvement in such behavior, sparking controversy and bringing discussions of intimate deviance to the forefront of public consciousness.